Hey guys, and welcome to our third season with Swansea City and me, NG Paradox. There's a lot of things to talk about, of course. It's the first game of the season, and of course, things have changed in the holidays. You're going to notice a few differences. You could probably already see some on the screen, but we'll go more in depth in a second. Gotta say, this transfer window was, I don't know, there were so many good opportunities here and there, and some really good ones that I missed. I'm so annoyed about. I'm so pissed off that I missed some of these transfers and they chose different clubs. I felt maybe being in the Europa League might have helped us like last year, but it didn't help out as much as last year, it looks like. But I still think we did good. We basically spent most of our money because, you know, we needed some players to replace players that went on retirement and some players that just weren't good enough. And obviously last year we did have fun in Europa League. Wasn't as successful as we could have hoped, but I think we can still be very proud of what we did, and that shouldn't take away from the Premier League. We came 6th, which is an amazing achievement to continue from the season before we came 5th, and get into Europe once again. So it should not take away from the Premier League. I think whenever we get into Europe, it takes away my focus on the Premier League, but I still got to admit that was really good. Jack Wilshere has now also been made captain of the club. Leon Britton retired, of course, and there were a few good choices, but Jack Wilshere was one of probably the best choices we could make. He did want to go to Liverpool, actually, over the summer. They wanted to bring him in, and I agreed with him that I would let him go if they made a bid of about £40 million. Luckily for us, Liverpool only made a bid of about, I think, 25 to 30 million. And most of that was payments over time. And so I just said no, and that was that. They never came back with another bid, and so Jack Wilshere's still here, which I'm very happy with. I like having him at the club. Really good for us last season. And now he's the captain. He's only 27 years old, and his value is very high, 29 million. We could definitely sell him for a lot of money in the future if need be. And remember, we got him on a free. Probably, you know, the buy of the century. Well, okay, not the century, but yeah. We've only got 9 million in the bank because I basically spent most of our money. When it comes to how much money we have 6 million left and 90 wage budget. So maybe in January we might be able to bring 1 or 2 players in if we sell a little bit. I had to sell a player as well. I don't know. This transfer window, lots of questions about whether I did the right things or not. So here we go. As you can see, we spent 58 million over the transfer window, and we raised 20 million ourselves. So, for example, we let a lot of free players go. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to think about who we let go. We let go of our Netherlands defender. I always forget his name, but we didn't need him. He was not good enough. Leon Britton retired. Wayne Routledge also retired. Leroy Fer, I let go on a free. He just wasn't good enough when he came on the pitch. That's it. He just wasn't good enough. I never been fond of him in real life either at the club, so I've let him go. When it comes to sales, though, Borja Baston has left the club. Young striker, well, 26 now, I guess, but he just never did it in real life, and in the game, he just doesn't do it either. I don't know what it is. Look, 5 goals at Malaga wasn't great, and in real life, 18 games, 1 goal. I don't know what it is about his time at Swansea. He just hasn't performed. We just sold him for 3 million because I think his contract was ending next year. He's valued obviously more, but at the time he was only valued about 2.5 million. So I thought 3 million, okay, let's just get rid of him, get some money in, we'll bring in a different striker to replace him. Or we could just play Ayew up front and get a new winger. So that's what I was thinking. We got a few players on loan, like Oliver McBurney. He's gone back on loan. He's very good last season on loan in League One. We've now gone on loan in the Championship with Rotherham again. I'm hoping maybe he can show how good he is at the Championship level. So that's going to be an important season for him. Kyle Bartley was sold for 2.1 million. I don't mind Kyle Bartley. I don't think he's good enough, but he's good for backup. But we brought in some other defender that I thought was better. Isa Diop is back from his injury, so he just wasn't needed. And so he wanted to go, and so I just sold him, I think it was for 2.1 million. Again, his value was that, so we got him for that. Wilfred Bonney has also gone. This was the most difficult choice. We sold him for 15 million. which I don't think is too bad. He was valued at 13, and he's now still valued at 13. So we sold him for more than his value. Remember, we bought him for 12. So, I mean, I think we did quite well in selling him. I've always liked him. I think he's okay. In the game, I don't think he's amazing, but he's good for backup. But we needed extra money. There was a couple of players I wanted to get, and I will tell you what, this season, I think I've overpaid. Because a lot of the players I wanted, the season before, we got lots of cool free players. This season, I missed out on those players. I'll show you a couple of players I missed out on if I can remember correct. Yeah, I think I can remember both of them. The two that I really wanted because they were cheap, but I couldn't get them. But this season, we couldn't get them. So I had to pay premium money for the players that I wanted this season. So we didn't get good deals this year, but we got players that I think are good. Players that fit the roles that I needed. And so we needed to make a sacrifice in a striking position. We're letting Ayew play up front now. He's going to be one of the strikers for us. We brought a new striker with Dembele. And Wilfried Bony's never going to play ahead of Dembele or the other two strikers. So I felt like, well, you know what? Let's sell him. Bring in the players I really want to bring in because he can give us a lot of money. Out of all my high value, I needed about 10, 15 million. About 12 million I think I needed, or 10 at the time. So selling him, he was one of the few high value players that I could sell. I felt we didn't need. So sadly, he's moved up. Plus, he's 30. 15 million for 30-year-old. I don't think it's too bad. We brought lots of young players in, actually, this year. That's one thing I'll say. No older players, like Kabaya and stuff. Liam Cullen's also gone on loan. So let's go to what you really want to know. Who did we bring in? Firstly, I brought in a defender, centre-back. I knew we needed a new centre-back. Diop was obviously injured for a lot of last season. He's lost a lot of that potential. Subotic, I'm not sure is good enough. But Mawson, I like Mawson. So we needed to bring in one to replace Bartley, and that was Harry Maguire. Now, the reason I brought in Harry Maguire is because Leicester got relegated last season. Aston Villa got relegated, Leicester and Huddersfield got all relegated last season, so Leicester was the surprise one. And Harry Maguire, he's actually a player I've always rated. I think he's a pretty good defender. And I think for us, he's a very good defender. You can see he's worth, valued by the coaches at 4-star. Valued at 15 million. We bought him for 10. Like I said, I paid a lot of money for a lot of these players, but I think the price is okay. In real life, they bought him for 15 as well. So I think actually that was not a bad price. You can see from his stats, 16, 15, head-in 17, strength 16, jumping reach 15. Very good mental stats. He's definitely our best defender. So I really felt he'll add to that centre-back role. So very happy to bring him in. He was very good for Leicester as well. 6.91 the first season. Last season, obviously, they did get relegated, which is a concern, but I think maybe his score is based upon how bad the team did. I think he's a good centre-back. And how old is he? 26. He's not an old player. He's going to be around for quite a while, so that's good for the future. Now, the rest of these players are all very young. I bought in Mandragora. Rolando Mandragora. Mandragora, there we go. Rolando Mandragora. I brought in this young 22-year-old. Now, the reason I brought him in was because at the defensive midfield role, Leon Britton obviously left. And we've got, obviously, Mesa and Sung Young who are playing in the defensive midfielder. But I just felt it's not where they like to play, especially Mesa. He prefers to play in the midfield role. So I decided to bring in a new defensive midfielder. And out of all the defensive midfielders, this guy was actually one of the best, and he's only 22. So it said he could have a good potential ability. That my coaches don't agree with. The scouts weighed lots of potential. My coaches don't agree. I think he can still improve, though. He's only 22, so I'm hoping he can improve. He's Italian, lots of under-21 caps. History-wise, he's done very well in Serie A. He's been on loan twice, played like most games in both times, and got over 7 rating at different clubs. So I think actually he's a really good buy. I think he could be really good. I think he can improve as well. He's got good tackling, marking, passing, good mentals and physicals. So for the defensive midfield role, that's the sort of thing we want. I like that he's young as well. So he's an interesting one. And we only got him for quite a cheap price. He's valued at 18 million, and we paid 7.75. I was hoping to pay about 6, but they wouldn't budge. They wanted a bit more than that. And a lot of other clubs were sniffing around. So I thought, let's just buy him, bring him in. And so we did that. So I actually think that was a really good buy. That's probably the best bargain. That's probably the only bargain we got. Actually, probably the only bargain we really got. was him. So I'm very happy with him. Next, we needed a striker, obviously, to replace Borja Baston. So I wanted to replace him, so we brought in Artem Bezidin. Now, he was not my first choice. My first choice was a young player from Argentina. I think his name was Martinez. Now, I don't remember how it wasn't Jackson Martinez. Lutaria Martinez? Yes, I wanted to bring in this young Argentina player because he had a release clause of like 5.25 million. So that was a great price. You can see he's valued at 13 now, over double that. And his stats look really good. You know, agility 16, pace 15, finishing 16. He's got okay composure. And he's young. He's only 21. So he can improve quite a bit. But when I put in my bid, many other clubs did as well. I think one club put it in before me, and I was like, okay, got to jump on this. I got to bring him in. He's going to be better than Baston, and he's probably better than Dembele, and he's much younger. So that's the future right there. But then, like, 10 other clubs also put the bid in, and his ask for wages was ridiculous. Like, he asked for way more than that from me. So he didn't seem that interested in us. So AC Milan managed to steal him away, which was a big shame. So I'd look for a different striker, but that was the one I put my hopes on. He was very cheap. So I had to look for a new one, and so I found this guy, Artem Bezidin. 11 million, again, a lot of money, but he's valued at 22.5 million. 23 years old, so he's a bit older, obviously, than that other guy, but he's already about as good as Dembele. So he's about as good as Dembele. They're both about the same age. I think they're both 23. Yeah, so they're both 23, so we've got a really young striking force here. But he looks pretty good, you know, good dribbling, good first touch, finishing, great composure, bravery. He's also got very good physicals. Look at that, all about 14 in all of his physicals. Good work rate, which I love to see. And yeah, just in general, I really liked him. He seemed to be okay at most things you'd want a striker to be good at. And he's only 23, so he might also improve. And in the end, the price I thought was okay. So it was a difficult one trying to find a striker, but I thought, you know what, him and Dembele, and then Ayew also going from kind of the wing to attack sometimes if they both get injured, I think is a really good strike force. So I think that's improved our striking position, definitely. Then we got into a bit of a difficulty. I had been wanting to get a left back or right back. That was my main goal during this transfer window, and actually we didn't bring one in because I wanted to get... There we go. Darmian. I wanted to get Matteo Darmian from Man United. He was let go on a free. He was let go on a free, and he was willing to talk to us. And so we talked to him, we set the contract out, we got him to sign. Everything was settled. But then a couple of other teams put their foot in, and he went to Fiorentina. They offered quite a bit more money than I did, it looks like. So we missed out on him. He was a free. If we could have got him, if we'd signed him, this would have been the perfect window. If I could have just got him, this would have been the perfect window. Because I think he's okay. You know, he was good at Man United. We didn't play many games. But I think he'd be very good for Swansea. And we needed a left back or right back. Because we've got Olsen on the left back, who's getting old now, he's 31. And we've got Lowton and Norton, who are both 30 on the right back. And it's probably our two weakest positions. So I really wanted to bring in a new one. But yeah, we couldn't. And then I needed more money to bring in my next two players. The next two players are ones I really wanted to bring in as well. Because I felt they're young. I wanted to bring in an English player and stuff. So I sold Bonnie at this point. And we brought in Jordan Pickford. Now, I know I've talked about Fabianski a lot. I love Fabianski. But I was looking through English players. I wanted to bring in an English player. Because we've been buying lots of non-English players apart from Maguire. And so I wanted to make sure we still have some English players, obviously. And I wanted them not to be too old. And I was looking through and I thought, you know what? We need a left back or right back or a goalkeeper. Because Fabianski is great. But he's 35. And his stats are starting to go down, actually. So I thought, you know what? Maybe we need to get him either a replacement now or someone that will replace him in the future. Angus Gunn is just not ready now. So I'm going to send Gunn out on loan. But I wanted to bring someone in now. And Jordan Pickford was that guy. He's English and he's a really good goalkeeper. Look at those stats. Those stats are great. And his current ability compared to Fab is 1 whole star, apparently. So apparently he's really good. Now, he's valued at 20 million, and I did pay 18. Quite a lot of money. If I could have gotten for 15, I'd have been very happy, but I felt that was too much. But I felt, you know what, out of all the goalkeepers I wanted to get, he was the only one that was being willing to be sold under 20 million. So I thought, you know what, let's just pay it. Let's just pay it, get rid of Bonnie, and then we just need to bring in a new winger or striker for then Jordan Ayew can be the winger or striker. Because Nathan Dyer is not good enough anymore winger, so I thought, okay, let's go for a winger. Jordan Pickford, though, I think could be really good for us. He's going to be very good for the future. If he does turn out to be good, it'll be great for Swansea. So kind of happy with that one. Then this one is all about the future. This guy I've been keeping an eye on for a long time. Paid 10.5 million again. Far more than I wanted to pay, actually. Rodrigo, we're going to say. Now, Rodrigo is 18 years old. And I've been keeping an eye on him from last year. Last year, I wanted to buy him. But Flamengo put in 1.25 million. So did I. We both tried to get him. Actually, no, what happened was last year, I saw him and I wanted to buy him. If he was 17, you could pay 1.25 million to get him. But I had no money left. I found him only after I spent all our money on the transfers. And then Flamengo paid for him. And I was like, no! I wanted him. I could have waited for next year. So, I had to wait till this year. And I thought to myself, well, we need a winger now. Nathan Dyer's gone too. That injury, he's been good. Obviously, he scored that winner in the Europa League. But after that injury until now, he's got so much worse over that period of time. So we need a new winger. So Jordan Ayew maybe can go from striker and winger roles maybe. And so I decided to bring him in. But Flamengo would not let me pay anything less than 10.5 million because that was his release clause. I hoped I could get him for 5 million, but you know what? I think it's still worth it because, look, he's valued at 12, so we paid a little bit less, but he's 18, and look at his stats. He's already one of our best wingers. He's as good a winger as all of our other wingers, but his potential could be amazing. So I think this could be our biggest buy this transfer window. So there we go. And a lot of ones for the future. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think last year was a better one. Like a lot more coup deals. But I think these ones are really good for the future. A lot of young players that can really be the center of us for next time. I didn't get a left back or right back because compared to the winger, Nathan Dyer is getting too old. And at the winger points, they're still good enough to play. I trust them until January. And hopefully in January, we can get a new left back or right back. Do you know what annoyed me though? The last day of transfer, Alonso was on sale. The Chelsea player, let me have a quick look. I think it was Marcos Alonso. He suddenly appeared on the transfer on the last day. Where is he? Yeah, Marcos Alonso. And I really like Alonso, actually. I don't know about you guys. I've always really rated him as a left back. I was like, no, it's the perfect player. But his value was 11 million. I didn't have enough money. So I was desperately trying to sell players. But we couldn't get enough to get him. So that would have been perfect as well. But yeah. Adrian Silva as well was on sale from Leicester because they got relegated. But they're only going to sell him for 47 million. So I'm not paying 47 million for Silva. So yeah, so a lot of interesting sales are on your Leicester, obviously. Could have got a lot of players from them, but it wasn't meant to be. But I'm happy with what we did, actually. I'm happy with what we did. The staff did not change much. Things are kind of the same there. The board are going to expand the stadium. Not by much. I think it was only about, like, maybe adding 3,000 more seats, which was a bit disappointing. But you know what? We'll just have to ask them again next year. We've now bought the stadium, which is great. And, of course, I got Manager of the Year last year. So, very good times. Just need to hope that we can continue all of this. Jordan Pickford is now my key player as well. So, there you go. Brian Amos, our hot prospect. Not looking too bad. Hopefully, he just keeps improving and getting tutored by our good strikers. But, yeah. Over this beginning part, we've obviously had some friendlies. And we did play the first round in the Europa League qualifiers. We need to qualify for the group stage. Was pretty good, actually. We played Ballymena United. Actually, I'll just go over these quickly. We played them and we scored. Goodmanson scored 2 goals. Jordan Ayew scored and Dembele scored a penalty. Dogs are very excited about Dembele scoring, apparently. Then, in our next match, 3-1, I think My girl just returned home, that's why. Dembele scored 2, Markovic scored 1. St. Mirren won 5-0. Obviously, these are easier teams, so it's not really a surprise. Dembele scored 4 goals and Tom Carroll scored. So Dembele obviously looks like he's really suited to the team these days, so that's really great to see. Then we've got, I think, are they Lille? Did they say Lille? Is that what they're called? I always forget. We lost the game, but Dembele scored, and we did get a red card early on, but still. Then we played Yeovil, we won 2-0, you and Dembele. So Dembele scoring in every game in the friendlies. Then we played against Shakhtar in the Europa League. I played these games myself. Bezadin scored. Dembele is actually injured right now, which was really annoying. Just before the league starts, we get an injury. So Bezadin had to come on. He scored in his first game, which is great to see. And Kabaya scored a penalty. Then we won at home 3-0. Bezadin scored 2 goals and Markovic scored a goal. So Bezadin, our Ukrainian 23-year-old, already looking pretty good. He was playing in Red Bull in Germany last year. He got 10 goals and 19 appearances, and we paid less than what they paid. I think that's pretty good in the German league. And 6 and 13 in the Ukraine one. You know, not the greatest record, but I think he could still be good. But today we have a match against West Brom. So West Brom, let's see what they look like these days. Last year they came 13th, which, you know, is a commendable position. Pardew is their manager at the moment. Their key player is Johnny Evans, still 31 years old now. Wow. It doesn't feel that long ago. He was just like 22. It feels like, you know, there's a group of young Man United players that were bought by them, wasn't there? Was he one of the ones bought? No, he came from actually their youth setup, actually. There was a group of young Man United players that were coming through. And, yeah, didn't seem that long ago. But yes. Let's see what transfers they've brought in. Transfer history. They didn't sell much. They sold Ascalante for about 8 million and Alan Nyom for not much. 41 million they spent. Their marquee signing was Christian Benteke. Really? Wow. People are still willing to buy Christian Benteke. I don't know. He always looks great stat-wise, but I can never bring myself to buy him. I just don't think he performs in Football Manager. That's not too bad, actually. Actually, his stats so far, not too bad. And 15.5 million? It's probably not too bad, actually. Maybe you'd make a punt of it if you weren't sure. Fellaini they also bought as well from Leicester. So it looks like Leicester lost a lot of players over the summer. Let's have a quick look, actually. Poor Leicester. It wasn't long ago they won the Premier League. They sold 115 million. Wow, that is a lot. Slimani got sold for almost 19 million. Ndidi sold for like up to 18 million. Ben Chilwell sold for up to 15. Fellaini, Damian Gray. I wanted to buy Gray as well, but he cost so much. But, oh well, I like the young player we brought in, Rodrigo. I've been looking at him for a long time. Iheanacho. So I probably bought their Ukrainian player, and then they bought him for 28 million. Okay, so they used that money they got from me to buy him. Interesting. So a lot of players leaving them, sadly. And they bought 17 million. Okay, but let's get into the match. Okay, match preview. Here we go. Our first game of the new season. I would be expecting to beat West Brom, really. Our record isn't great against them, but I'd be hoping we would beat them for the first game of the season. Let's start this off well. So you can see today, we've got quite a few new players in the first team squad. Bezadin is going to start up front for us because Dembele is currently injured for 5 days to 3 weeks. Rodrigo is going to start on the left wing. The thing is as well, on the left wing, we actually don't have any good players on the left wing. That was the other thing as well. So he seemed just perfect to fit into the squad. And he can jump right in from the beginning. Goodmanson is still here. Really like him. I rate him as a player. Really good for us. 28 still. He's still not that old. Jack Wilshere. Kabaye. Kabaye is now 33. He's not lost it yet. He's getting down in his stats. This might be his last year. Possibly. His speed, though, you know, 13 agility. He's still got 10 for acceleration and pace. I think once those goes down to 9, probably be this year. We'll probably let him go. And also his contract ends at the end of the year. Probably be his last year with us. And we'll probably just let him go. But he's been really good for us for the short time he's been with us, actually. Mandragora is also starting. I think he's a really good defensive midfielder. Probably our best defensive midfielder, actually, when it comes to stars. Olsen's still playing, obviously. Our left and right backs, hopefully you can get a new one in January if we can bring a bit more money. But I still trust them. Olsen, Hadara don't look like the best players, but I still think they're good. And I think their stats aren't bad. So I still kind of trust these players, even though maybe the stats are saying that their numbers are up. They're not good enough. But I still trust them. Subotic at the centre-back and Maguire as well. Diop is on the bench because that injury, his stats are going up. Maybe he can come back, but I'm not completely sold on him now because of that injury. And Mawson's actually not even on the pitch, which is a shame. I really like him, but they're telling me Maguire's better and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how the players do. There's going to be a lot of competition, I think, for centre-back. Norton on the right-back there. And Jordan Pickford starting here. Ooh, let's see. I'm hoping he can do well. We're going to play very simply today. I've had bad times against West Brom last year. We're going to give these guys numbers. Good job. Let's see what we can do. Guys, please tell me what you think about our transfers. I know maybe it's not the best. I think last year was probably a better transfer window. And too bad there's not even a picture for Rodrigo. But Benteke up front, of course. Shadil, Phillips, Fellaini. That's not too bad a side when you think about it. That's not too bad a side at all. I don't know this goalkeeper, though. Capino. Greek. 7.75. He looks, I don't know, doesn't look that great. Okay, here we go. Passionate. We're playing at home today. Do it for the fans. The first game of the season, and they don't care. But everything's doing great at the club. The players love me. The fans love me. Things are looking great. I mean, what? You wouldn't be surprised, would you, of how well we've been doing the last 2 seasons. The players really trust me. But we just need to continue it this season as well. The club expects a top half position now because of our last 2 years of success, and so do I. We expect a top half position at least, but we want to try and compete for the Europa League, of course, get back in again, keep trying to get in Europa League and just get farther and further in that competition. That's what I want to see. Proper. Get to the Fellaini. But I think our squad this year is a better squad. Like last year was pretty good, but I think this year the whole squad is better. Like, behind Dembele, we've got Bezadin and Jordan Ayew. That is some great selections for striker. Then the wingers, we've got, Goodmanson, Malkovic, whatever his name is, the guy I bought from Liverpool. We've also got Rodrigo, and of course, Jordan Ayew can play there. I bought also Daniel James, actually, the young player from last year who played a couple of times. I bought him into the first team because he's actually now about as good as Dyer, because Dyer's now getting too old. Goodmanson, oh, good attempt. But yeah, he's about as good as Dyer. So Dyer's actually gone to the under-23s at the moment. Then when it comes to midfield, I trust every single midfielder. We still got Sung Young. We still got Carroll. So they're all great backup choices. And the same with our defenders. Our centre-backs are all great. Our goalkeepers, we've got Pickford and Fab. I mean, the only thing is just our left-back and right-back. But I trust all 4 of them to play well enough until we get to January. And as I say, all those lovely things about the team, of course, Christian Benteke scores. And of course, it would be him. It's only just begun. We just at the first strike, first on target, and a goal, of course. Yep. This sounds like me. Wilshere gets it to Rodrigo. He's a young player, remember. Goodmanson. Oh, my, really? And Rodrigo almost scoring on his debut. We did obviously have the games in Europe, but I didn't get to play some of our players because they were not registered in time. Because I bought them in after the registration. So that was Rodrigo, Pickford. They didn't have time to get in. Okay, Goodmanson gets it down to Cabaye. And Cabaye gets it to Rodrigo. Now, Cabaye, once he gets a bit too tired, we're going to start bringing on Mesa. So Mesa also we got as backup midfielder. So I say the squad itself should be really good, which is what we needed. If we're going to especially play in Europe as well, we need that. So I'm very happy with the squad as a whole. So I think we brought in the players that we needed. Like I said, we just missed out on Darmian. That was it. If we brought him in, if only we had got him, that would have been an amazing transfer window. I would have said that would have been better than the year before, just because it would have got all the players that we needed, really. But I don't know. Last year, though, getting Wilshere and Cabaye on frees was pretty good. I'm getting Dembele, of course. Oh, Dembele scoring over 20 goals last season. Hopefully he does that again this season. Good tackle there by Olsen. See, Olsen can do it still. Kabaye. Kabaye, not a good pass, is it? Good interception by Olsen. Luckily, Pickford was paying attention. Come on, Pickford. You gotta do well. I want to make sure that price tag I paid. Oh, great ball to Bezadin. Oh, because remember, Pickford, we paid the same for you as we did for Dembele. So you gotta be as good as Dembele. You two are the biggest players I've bought so far when it comes to price. But Wilshere probably is the biggest player we've ever bought. To be honest, and that was a free. Then again, you know, Dembele, you might rate us more, and it says that Pickford is more of a key player than him. We've definitely been the better team, but we've both got 2 shots on target, so maybe I'm overstating it. Maybe we've not been as good as I think. Definitely not clinical. Okay, let's go on the attack here. I don't feel that threatened by West Brom right now. That's the thing. So it's annoying that we're losing, because I just don't feel threatened by them. At this point in time, we just can't seem to do well. Phillips now with a corner. Good job, Pickford. Pick up that ball. Okay, they hit the ball out. Okay. Like I said, I also wanted to make sure I brought some English players, as I said before, because you do need English players, because obviously you need that for the different registrations and stuff. Though it is obviously best to have ones from your own club, but none of our young players are good enough yet. Only real Daniel James is the only young one I can really trust to go in the first team. Bezadin, get to the Wilshere, get to the Rodrigo. And because we lost Leon Britton, because he retired, and of course Nathan Dyer's got too old, I definitely needed to bring in at least 2 English players. So I'm very glad of what I got. Like I said, I just felt I had to pay too much for most of these players. I'd like to pay a little bit less for a lot of them. But I'm still happy with what we got. Okay, Benteke on the run here. What's he gonna do? Gets it into Schlopp. Oh, not a great strike there, but that doesn't matter. They're still winning. I'm sure they'll be happy. That looks like it's the end of the first half, and not impressed. It's a shame because in those first 2 Europa League matches, they played so like Bezadin looked on fire. He looked on fire in those 2 matches. Now, obviously, that is a far worse team than West Brom, so maybe that's a bit, you know, difficult to say how well our players played, but still. Let's be assertive here. Come on, lads. Show a bit of desire. I know you've done well the last 2 seasons. There's no reason to get complacent. I mean, maybe it's because we've got lots of new players here. That's the thing is when you bring too many new players, it can be maybe difficult for them to fit in sometimes. It might take them a while. But, what the? Okay, the frames just disappeared there. Apparently Rodrigo, I guess, did a foul, which I did not see at all. But it can take new players a while to settle in, so you don't usually want to put too many new players in. So maybe I've started too many new players. Maybe I shouldn't have started with Rodrigo, maybe. That could be a thing. Might have to make a couple of changes now, early on. Jack Wilshere's a yellow card. But Wilshere's not been bad. It's been more Kabaye, I think, it's been worse. Ball to Rodrigo. Gets a ball in the Bezadin. Oh, Bezadin! I've seen him score those in the last 2 very similar goals in the last 2 matches. Rodrigo, another chance here. Can he get the ball in? Great ball. Rodrigo's actually getting a couple of nice little balls in there. Just the West Brom defence is very packed. Pardew, have you been taking lessons from Pulis? Is that what's been going on? Kabaye gets a nice ball to the Bezadin. Oh, nothing from that. Okay, we're getting a few chances now. Hopefully this is another chance for us. Rodrigo trying to fight for that ball. Remember, he's only 18 years old. I'm really excited to see what type of player he turns into. Okay. And also, I never heard of him before. That made it even more interesting. I love the scout system in this game far more than the previous games because your scout systems bring you back really interesting players that you've never heard of. I like to play that. I don't know if you guys know, but I like to play a certain way. I don't know if I talked about it already. I think I probably would have talked about it early on in the game. But I like to play a certain way. I like to give more of a realistic way, I guess. Whether I don't specifically look for certain players. I only look at the players my scouts bring me, or ones that end up on the transfer list. Because that's how clubs probably do it. They look at the ones that they get brought to them. Let's make some. Okay, I should have made some changes like 5 minutes ago. Jorna, you're going to come on for Bezadin. He's been getting in good positions, but it's not been good enough. Goodmanson, I've not seen anything from him today, so we're going to bring on Markovic. And Kabay is the one I want to change. But he's got a yellow card, and Mandrogia is tired. Let's take off Kabay. Roque Mesa, you're going to come on for him? I trust Mesa. He's a good player. He's our vice-captain as well. Hey, and Wilshire's the captain. Let's leave him on. Jordan Ayew. He's a player that can make a massive difference sometimes. We've won games just because of Jordan Ayew. So, hopefully this season he's going to play more of a striker role when he can. But if Dembele and Bezidin are both fit, he's going to play more in his winger position that we've gotten used to the last 2 seasons. Oh, thank you, Pickford. But if he gets chances, he might play more of a striker role now because we don't have 3 strikers at the moment. Just 2 in him. And really, he is a striker. So maybe he'll surprise us and do even better as a striker. I'll be very happy if that happens. But so far, 3 shots on target. Look at that. It's just not going right for us at the moment. Maybe Rodrigo's just too young. Maybe his passes aren't great. Mesa gets the good ball to Markovic. Get the ball in the center. Get the ball in the center. Why, Markovic? Why, Markovic? Why do you make me so sad? Why do you make me so sad? I'm sorry. When I'm in a bad mood, I have to sing because it makes me feel better. We're going to lose 1-0 the first game of the season against West Brom. Really, game? This is how you want me to start my season off? This is what you want to see the viewers have for this first game? Come on, Mesa. Even a draw already is not good enough. Especially if you want to get top half position. Okay, Mesa's not going to get that. Mandrogia. Okay, Wilshere gets the ball. Plants it down. Rodrigo, if he'd have scored. Oh, that would have been an amazing debut. I want him to score so badly. Mesa. Oh, Maguire couldn't get to it. Wilshere, Madrid. Maybe you're the problem today, Mandrogia. Maybe he's too young as well. The thing is, because we're not one of the biggest clubs, I feel like we have to take more risks on the transfers I've been bringing in. Like, a lot of these players look really good, but like they're risks, you know. It's like, are they, they're young and stuff, are they good enough? I don't know. I think I'm complaining a bit too much. I think this is just unlucky. I think we've just been unlucky today. It's probably one of those things where just an unlucky game. We'll probably go back into form, you know, the next couple of games. I know our first games of the season aren't that bad, and we've got 15 seconds to bring it back. Not the best of starts. You know, we were really good scoring form in the pre-season. That's why I thought we were ready. But this shows we've still got a lot to do. Maybe I should try and go for more of attacking midfield role. I was thinking about maybe changing, because we've been doing so well in recent seasons, to maybe change to more of an attacking midfield, you know, with no defensive midfielder. But I thought it's been doing so well for us the last 2 seasons, I can't really just dump it. We're going to say unlucky, boys. I think that was an unlucky match. Not good enough, but that happened. You lose some games. We've seen that happen. The end of last season was torture for that type of thing, so I'm hoping we're not going to continue the end of last season's form into this season. That would be horrible. But yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I hope you return for the next match. We've got Europa League match against Odd, a Norwegian team. Yeah. So we should be getting through against them. We've got West Ham, of course. And we'll be back after those 3 games. We'll be back for a big game against Tottenham. Oh dear, West Ham, Tottenham, and then Man City. That's not a good start, actually. I thought maybe we had some easier games. I think a couple of the games got moved because of Europa League. That was why. I think the Bournemouth and Fulham game actually got moved. No, probably the Bournemouth. Was it the Stoke? Maybe it was the Stoke game got moved, I think. Yeah. I think we started West Brom, West Ham, Stoke. That was it. But yeah, we'll return next time. Hopefully I'll have some more good news. Yeah, to make us feel better about this match. But I'll see you then. I've been NG Paradox.